Okay guys, so in this video I want to help you to finally fix this problem of just not being able to stick with one task that you gotta do but you just don't seem to do, right? Okay, so I read an entire book just for you for this video, right? So this will be some massive knowledge, right? So as a quick introduction, we gotta summarize, not summarize, we gotta simplify all the process that you use, the blueprint that you use for working on something. Because you guys make it too complex. That's the thing. You guys make it too complex and with too many things that just don't matter, all right? So please listen to this video. Please take notes. This can literally 1.5, 2x, 5x, 10x your progress if you take notes, because you're way more likely to take action and you'll remember actually way better, right? And you remember, there's studies on this, you'll remember a lot better when you actually take notes, all right? So please do that. Okay, so I read this book, The One Thing, by Gary Keller, in these 2 last days. And yeah, I learned a bunch of awesome stuff to help you to quit your procrastination problem and finally get your work done. So first of all, Gary Keller talks about this one thing, this concept of the one thing. So first of all, look, there's a bunch of this information, but first of all, we gotta pick what's your one thing that if you do, it will make everything else unnecessary or more effortless, or at least more unnecessary. Look, so what's the one thing that you can do in that one area that you gotta stick to that, and everything else you gotta just get away? Because many people, including you, have all these tasks that they think they're important, and you might say, "Oh, but Sebastian, this is actually important." Look, you still have some tasks, or at least one, that is not good for you, that is not important, that just kind of wastes your time, that one activity. So for example, and this goes for many areas, right? It can be your one thing for learning, for self-development. What's that one problem you want to fix? That one problem you want to fix, pick one and go learn about that. And also, for example, in terms of your productive work, let's say I make videos, right, to help you, and therefore I either study from a book or personal experience, I get these lessons and so on. And so thing is, that's my one thing, posting YouTube videos, right? At least 2 times per week, every single week. And I made myself a promise on that. So you'll know, I'll be consistent with this. And so thing is, that's my one thing, for example, in this area of productive work, of business, and that I want to build. And of course, I want to help you to grow this massive movement, to help so many people to actually become more disciplined and productive and get their work done and actually feel great finally and feel confident, get their work done, not feel stressed, not feel this and that, but actually having a great life, through discipline. And so thing is, that's my one thing, making the YouTube videos. Now you gotta see for yourself, in terms of your purpose, your goals, whatever, what's your one thing? Because you focus right now on too many things. That's the thing. You focus on too many things that are not necessarily necessary right now. So pick that one thing that is most important for you. Pick that one area that is important for you, not for what other people say, but what's important for you. Maybe it's fitness right now. You really are sick and tired of all this, and want to get in finally in a good shape, or you want to have some money online, or something, like focus on learning about that. And for each and every area, there's that one thing. There's learning about actually information. There's doing the actual task, and so on. And so thing is, you gotta pick that one thing and see for yourself what it is, and spend most of your time, most of your day, just focusing on that. And by the way, time block some hours in the morning when you can, at least, and especially in the weekends, focusing on that one thing, because when you do, it will make exponentially more progress. You might think, "Oh, but Sebastian, yeah, I know, but look, the same 5 hours that you have, I kind of have them, but in between them, I have some more activities." Look, you'll kind of get distracted. Look, even if it sums up the same time, it's still not as powerful as just staying focused on that one thing, right? I did this, I think, yesterday, and I've read for like hours, literally. And it was so interesting, and also I got so much done. In 2 days, I've read pretty much a almost 300-page book. I skipped some chapters because I knew them I knew and understood the idea that was only like one or two, but pretty much the whole rest of them I just read. And so thing is, yeah, man, focus on that one thing. Otherwise, your attention gets divided too much. You know this concept of essentialism, right? I mean, you gotta pick. Okay, let me try to pick a pencil or something. You got to do basically this one thing. I mean, this one thing. You got to let me draw a picture for you, right? For you to understand. So when you divide your attention onto too many areas of life that you want to grow at the same time, you don't make as much progress as compared to just putting most of your time, or at least a lot more of your time, on just one single thing. So look at this picture. Hopefully you see it. This is essentialism. I hope you see it. But basically, when you try to focus on too many things at once, you make progress in pretty much none of them. But when you focus most of your time on just one thing, that's when you make exponential growth. When you have exponential growth, and let me try to get the focus back. Hopefully it is the focus on me on the, okay, here, okay, good. But when you try to focus on one thing, you make exponentially more progress. That's the thing. That's how it works. And so thing is, you gotta focus on that one thing. When you simplify, then of course there's more problems that will come, and we will fix them. I'll tell you how, because you might have some questions. I'll do my best to answer them. All right. So look, just quickly, we got to simplify everything you do, and basically get rid of all the unnecessary stuff that doesn't help you, that you don't even want to do, that is not even necessary. So get all that stuff away. All the stuff from your to-do list, all the tasks you give yourself, don't just take them just because you have boxes to tick. I might say, oh, but Sebastian, you teach to complete each and every task. Yes, but give yourself the right tasks. Only, not 10, 20, 15, 20, whatever tasks, but only like one or two or three or something that are actually important for you, that will give you progress, instead of whatever random stuff that doesn't help that much, right? So focus on essentialism. Now, you might think, okay, Sebastian, I get it, but what about in the moments when I just feel kind of sad and lonely and kind of stuff on this self-development journeys? It's kind of hard, because I'm on this path of growth and all that, but I don't find people that are like-minded, that are on the same path, that I can meet with each and every day, and it kind of feels lonely and sad. I had the same problem, bro. What you do is you raise your frequency and you keep it high. And I'll tell you how. The reason why is because, look, no matter what's the cause of why you feel bad, if you feel bad, that's low frequency. I mean, a low emotional state. Now, what do you want to do is to raise your frequency. Raise your emotional state into a way better one, like acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, enlightenment, happiness, joy, love, bliss, instead of sadness, depression, guilt, shame, like all these disgusting things, like they're not good for you, right? So you got, in loneliness, all that stuff, you got to raise your frequency state. So what you do, because you might say, oh, but Sebastian, but willpower is fleeting and stuff like that, and when you don't feel like it, I'll tell you what to do to keep yourself at a high frequency state. Because when you keep yourself at a high frequency state, you won't feel like going somewhere else and doing some other thing just to feel better, because you already feel good. So now you can be productive for like hours uninterrupted. That's the key. That's the secret to this productivity stuff. And I think Ali Abdaal, if you know him, if you know this guy, I think he writes in his book somewhat the same. I didn't read it yet, but his book is Feel Good Productivity. Think about the title. And he's a master, let's say, on productivity, or let's say people associate or let's say think about it. Think that he makes videos on productivity. That should get you to think. And you might say, "Oh, but Sebastian, but those bad habits make me feel good." Look, that is a difference. It's a difference. Those bad habits will make you feel regret either way after that. They give you a bit of pleasure, but they give you regret after that. What we want to do is to raise your frequency, your emotional state, for you to feel better and actually happier, right? Long term. Not to feel regret, but good happiness. And so how do we do that? So that you make sure you stay consistent and happy and therefore focused throughout the whole day. You give yourself high frequency activities. What are some of them? And you schedule them throughout the day. So what are some of them? One is 8 hours sleep, because if you have 7 hours or less, you literally over time you'll get exponentially less energy and mood and focus and all the other whatever stuff, hormones, whatever. It's not good for health. So give your 8 hours, it will massively help you. That's one. And it will raise your mood 100% as well. I tell you, it's massive. Another thing is the workouts, the runs, the exercise, getting in nature, getting outside, getting sunlight, some fresh air for quite some time, and staying present during that. That's massive, because that will raise your frequency state as well for like hours even after that. To be honest, this morning I felt calm, I felt peaceful, but I wasn't this vibrating. I didn't have this vibrating energy to make the video. I could do it, no problem. It was not a discipline problem. It was just that I didn't want to sound boring to you. That's the thing. So I went outside. I listened to some powerful stuff, educational stuff, and I got into a way higher frequency, way better energy. And so thing is, it's way more vibrating. You're connecting way better. It's way more inspiring. It's way more interesting to listen to than compared to just me talking like this. You know, it's just stupid. And that energy is infectious, if that's the correct word. You gotta keep yourself at the right energy to have the best results, the best performance. And so you do that through high frequency activities, the 8 hour sleep, the workouts, the exercise, the running, the other fun, healthy activities, like I, for example, draw, and it's absolutely amazing. I absolutely love it. Let me show you, right? And I don't mean some stupid drawings, but actually like good ones from references, right? Not just from imagination, but from references. And so you schedule all these throughout the day, and after I draw, guess what? I feel so much better after that good flow state. Then I can just do even more productive work, and I feel great. And I can just stay focused on whatever task I gotta do, that one thing for me, because I'm no longer distracted trying to feel constantly get more pleasure, because I already feel good. But it's not just feeling good, it's about feeling happiness. You gotta change your source of what you get your good emotions from, not from bad habits, but to channel it to get it from good habits that will make you feel good, but actually lead to happiness, not to regret after that, but to happiness. Let me show you some drawings. I mean, it's absolutely massive. I mean, absolutely amazing, fun, and so on. You don't necessarily need to do this, but whatever. I did this around, I don't know, some years ago, but I started to draw again, and it's pretty interesting. I mean, this might look a bit weird, but whatever. Some kind of Dragon Ball stuff, you know, and then this. Pretty cool, I guess. And so thing is, and I have some more stuff. Also, you can read books, read awesome books, self-development books. It's interesting. It's awesome. You educate yourself. Like, look, for example, some books from John Maxwell. I want to learn to develop in leadership, and that's my one thing in terms of learning. I just thought to myself one day, oh, wait a bit, well, what am I doing? I'm focusing on all this stuff. I'm learning about money, about self-development, about this area, that area, that. It's not good. We need to pick one problem that we want to fix, one thing, and just focus on solving that. And so what I picked is leadership, because the better the leader I become, the more I can care about you and actually do my best to help you and actually deliver even more value, and we can connect better and make an even better community. Think about how powerful and amazing is that. So there you have it. There you go. Some books from John Maxwell. This one, and also this one. Talent is not enough, or develop the leader within you. Because it's written not in English but in some other language, Romanian. This is massive for you to feel exponentially better as well. From Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. Absolutely amazing book. Feeling nice, man. How to Influence and Influence People. Books from Grant Cardone, 10x Rule, or be obsessed or be average. Absolutely amazing. If you want to finally feel excited about life, go read this book and all these books. It's amazing. Also, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. I gotta read this one. It got recommended to me by some of my mentors, Jack Hopkins, Patrick Bet-David. Even Brian Tracy says it's an amazing book. This keeps me occupied. This keeps me educated and at a high frequency. And you know, whenever that one thing changes for learning, I can just focus on that, solve the problem, and that's it. I hope it makes sense, you guys. You pick one thing and you just focus on solving that. You learn about it. You then take actions towards about it. Not just whatever many things at once, but you pick one thing at a time and you focus on that. Boom, you solve it, or at least get a way better level, and then you move on to the next, to the next, to the next. Not everything at once, but focus on one at a time. That's what I mean. And also, on drawing, look at this stuff. For example, pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. And it keeps me at a high frequency. I love it. I had moments when I didn't feel like working, or didn't feel like this and that. But then after that, I feel exponentially better simply because I drew. And another thing you can do is to start playing guitar. You might say, oh, give it, or some other instrument. You might say, oh, but Sebastian, I cannot afford an electric guitar. Start with a classic one, or an acoustic one, or some other instrument, whatever. If you don't want to, whatever. But I mean, it's just an example, right? It can actually make you feel better. When you look, a person with a great mental health, do you think that person will be happier and more productive than a person that has a bad mental health, that just feels sad all the time and feels lonely and sad and wants to do work, but because of all those things, it just interrupted and procrastinates because of those, and because it just feels depleted of energy and of happiness? Well, what person do you think will be exponentially more productive? Of course, this one with a great mental health. That's why I'm telling you to stay at a high frequency, to do these habits. They will keep you with a great mental health and spend more time in nature. Oh, but Sebastian, our country doesn't have this amazing nature like all these other countries. Doesn't matter. Just go outside. That's the point. Go outside. It will save your life, save your mental health. Also, believe in God, believe in Jesus. You'll gain so much more mental peace. Peace is not something, it's someone, it's Jesus. Because He gives us all this peace. Now, anyway, the point is, moving on. You might say, oh, but Sebastian, either way, my willpower is fleeting. Stop thinking about that. Let me tell you how you can use willpower and finally actually start using it, because look, all these people saying willpower is fleeting, what they do is they didn't use it correctly. Let me tell you how to train it, because it's a skill. Look, you guys, I don't understand. So many people think, are you born with it? Are you born with discipline, with leadership, of all this and that, these amazing things? Like, no, I mean, there might be some people that have it a bit better from the start, but whatever. Can you get better at it though? Of course, it's called a skill development. That's what it is. Skill development. Everything is a skill. You can just get better at it. Doesn't it make sense? You can increase your willpower. Your willpower itself is a skill. Discipline is a skill. Think about it. You can raise your standards and constantly challenge yourself. And either way, there's methods that I teach on how to increase this. And so, for example, with willpower, let's say, what I realized is that when we have this bad craving to do whatever bad thing that you want to do, that you feel like doing, because you want to feel better, because you feel kind of sad and whatever, you know you need to do productive work, but you kind of don't want to. You want to do some other whatever bad craving, bad habit, because you want to feel better. And so, the thing is, what people do that say, oh, willpower is fleeting, is we all have two decisions: the discipline decision and the indulging into that bad craving. What most people end up doing is they kind of pay a bit more attention onto this one. When they do that, this discipline decision, it kind of gets away of their side. They're not as focused on that, and they're kind of focused on this more, and they kind of zoom in, and they know it's not the right thing to do, but because they pay more attention and thoughts onto this one, they kind of they start indulging into that bad habit. But what you gotta do with willpower is to actually start using it. People say it's fleeting. It's not fleeting. You didn't even use it. You didn't even try. What you gotta do is put more thoughts into the discipline decision, more attention onto this, because the more you do this, the more self-control you get, the more self-awareness. So thing is, you put, even if it's hard. I had moments when I literally just wanted to indulge in some bad stuff or eat something I shouldn't have eaten. For example, some days ago, like a pie, in the moment when I didn't need to eat it because I didn't know its calories and it had too much sodium. I wanted to stay a bit more from that, kind of stuff, like bakery, whatever. And so thing is, I kind of felt like eating it. I said, comes some protein, some chicken, whatever it was. But still, it was not necessarily the right thing to do. And what I ended up doing is just put a little bit more attention on discipline. One more thought, a little bit more. And I even visualize myself because of my identity. That's why I say identity is so powerful, because it works for you automatically, bro. It will change your life. And so I even visualize myself, because my identity is of a disciplined individual, because I told myself I'm a disciplined individual, I'm a disciplined individual. And I proved myself constantly through these daily wins and this accountability journal. Look here, right? Massive. Look at all these wins. This is visual proof that you literally change, right? And you constantly repeat to yourself, even if it's not true yet, I'm a disciplined individual, I'm a disciplined individual, I'm a disciplined individual, because you right now choose to be disciplined. And what ends up happening is, the more you say something, you end up believing it. The more you say something, the more you'll get that belief in identity. And like actors with their scripts, they start even performing like that character even in their free time. Doesn't that tell you something? The more you repeat to yourself something, the more you'll end up behaving like that. If you say you are a disciplined person over and over again, daily, over time you'll become that kind of character. That's exactly what actors do in movies, and it works for them. And even in their free time, they unconsciously act like that character because they repeated the actions and the beliefs so long. Do you understand? That's exactly how it works. You can do this in real life. It happens for them without them even wanting to after some point, after them making the movie, even when it's done. Doesn't that tell you something? And so, back to the point, I was putting a little bit more attention on the discipline thought, and even visualizing how, I wouldn't get the pie, but go outside like right now and actually take the discipline decision. And I took it because I put more attention onto this. And when you make eye contact with the decision, you think, oh yeah, I meant to do this. And you kind of know it, but your understanding of it is amplified. And you have way more self-awareness and therefore self-control. And so you end up taking the right decision. And so when you don't feel like doing something productive that you gotta do, just put a little bit more attention on the discipline thought. Even when you don't feel like it at all, just put a little bit more attention on this discipline thought. Just have thoughts of discipline. If you have only negative thoughts, can you feel positive? No. What you gotta do? Enforce positive thoughts on command. If you want to be productive but only have thoughts of procrastination or comfort, indulging into this craving, feeling pleasure, all that stuff, will you be productive? Probably not. So what you gotta do is to forcefully implant thoughts of discipline. Just think about the concept of discipline. Just what do you mean, Sebastian? Just think about discipline. Say it into your mind and vocally verbalize it. Self-talk is powerful. What you say to yourself will direct where you go and the kind of energy you have. So begin talking yourself into doing it. And bit by bit, bit by bit, bit by bit, just constantly tell yourself discipline, 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 discipline. You put more attention onto that. And you might say, but Sebastian, I feel disgusting and I feel lonely and I feel sad. What do I do? Because I know discipline, but I feel sad. I have bigger problems than discipline now. I want to feel better. Just do the high frequency activities, as I told you, right? Go in nature. This will cure it for you 100%, and work out. That's the only thing you do. You need, actually. Those are the only things you need to raise your frequency that you can do today. Of course, you can have more stuff like drawing if you want to start doing that, and also playing an instrument. Also, you gotta read. You gotta educate yourself, and you gotta inspire yourself. This will inspire you massively. This book, massive, and actually start implementing what you read from the book. Each and every chapter that you read, take at least one action step from that. This book changed my life. You can start reading instead of procrastinating. Instead of, I don't know what to do, Sebastian. Well, first of all, we decided that one thing. And when you have some free time aside that, for you to not indulge into bad habits, let's give yourself some more things to do. Like reading. Read this book, How to Influence and Influence People. It will change your life. It did for me. I read it once about 2 years ago, and I still remember the principles because I've been using them every day. Guess what happened to my social skills? They skyrocketed. My life got exponentially better. And that's another thing I did. I just focused on implementing. Not too many things at once, but you focus on one thing, you implement it, and then you move on to the next things, to something else. That's the thing. And bro, I got so many books, for example, I want to read, but I gotta go one at a time, and then actually take action on that. That's another example of the one thing. You focus on one thing, one problem you want to solve, one area of life. You focus on that, you get exponentially better. Not the most amazing in the world, perfect. That will take too much time. But for some time, focus on solving that and getting way better in that area, and then moving on to the next thing. When you do that, you'll gain exponentially more progress. And do your work in the morning. That will be so much better. And undistracted, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however much you can, with that one important thing. When you do this, you'll make so much more progress. Think about it, right? I used to have some work in the morning, some hours, but between them I used to have journaling, and also what else did I have? Checking this kind of information. Whatever was I doing on my schedule? I would look now, but I film on my phone. Thing is, I had some work tasks that I got some work that I needed to focus on. For example, working on a video, but I got breaks in between. I did some other activities, some other habits that distracted me, and all the other stuff that is still good, I just moved it a bit later in the day. And now what I do, for example, yesterday, I read for hours and hours and hours, and all the other stuff that I used to do in the morning, I just got it kind of, later a bit in the day, so that I actually focus on my work. You might think, oh, but it's the same time in total. It's not the same, man. It's not the same. Flow state is massive. You need that. That's the thing. When you put so many hours, or however much you can, but at least a bit more time, focus on that one thing, undistracted from other things, you'll get exponentially more progress. You're so much more focused. I literally read for hours. I didn't used to do that before, right? It was surprising even for me. Wow, I got so much work done. I read, and that's the thing. I took notes for the video, and I learned a bunch myself. And I read a book in 2 days because of this principle of just, everything else aside, just focus on this for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, or however much you can. You put your time block it. That's another thing. You schedule it. When you do this, you'll get your work done no matter what. And it's even easier to do that earlier in the day compared to later, because earlier in the day you have more energy, you're not as distracted, you have more discipline, more willpower. Actually, I think that's a belief. Either way, you can have willpower whenever you want. But you wake up specifically to do that thing. That's what I mean. Don't wake up just for whatever. For example, later in the day, you can do whatever other tasks. But when you wake up at this specific time, for example, at 6 a.m., because you want to have time to work on this thing. it's way more meaningful, and it's way better timing for you to work without distractions. And also environment is powerful as well. If you don't have a good environment, just go either work on some other place, but probably that's not even needed. Look, turn your notifications off. If your family distracts you, just work on that important task a bit earlier in the day. Wake up before them, or work on that thing when they're not at home or whatever, or at least also especially when in those scenarios, so that you're not distracted, for example, right? And yeah, turn off your notifications. It's just not good. Maybe leave the calls and the messages, because your family might need that, to communicate with you, but you get the point. Because all the other things are just unnecessary. And when I did that like years ago, or a year or 2 years ago, I don't know, I just turned off the notifications for everything. It's so much better. And it's irritating having all these notifications. It's just stupid. But anyway, that will save you a bunch of time and make you more productive as well, by the way. That's why I said this to you. Now, another thing is, let me look through my notes here, because this is important. I don't want to leave anything on the side, right? So, Pareto's rule, 80-20. You might know this, but let's go extreme with this, as Gary Keller said. What I mean by this is, from the tasks, look, you have all these tasks in your to-do list. To-do list versus success list for the day. You have all these tasks in the to-do list. Now what you do is pick only the few ones that actually matter, and then you go Pareto extreme. You pick one or something from those essential ones that actually matters, and you do that first, or only. That's what you do. And also, don't multitask. You might say, but Sebastian, that's way more effective. That's not. You're just wasting your time, and you're not even getting as much work done as, for example, compared to me, if I am in a flow state. And even if I'm not in a flow state, look, you cannot, as a human, put your attention on two things or even more, but even two at once. You might say, oh, but how? Of course you can. No, you cannot. You go back and forth from one thing to that. That's exactly what you do. You know it. It's not pay attention on. You can be aware of that you have both things going, but you cannot focus and do them well at the same time. It's impossible. It's not. And even if you kind of somehow manage to, either way, it's not effective. You try to do two things at once. Do you understand what do you do? You're gonna get crushed by guys like us who get focused on just one thing and just get in flow state. Focus on just one thing. Do you understand the power of flow state? Not only focusing on one thing helps you a lot with focus and with getting a lot more done a lot faster, because you actually get it done faster and better, focus on that one thing. But also, flow state multiplies by a lot, even this whole thing. Do you understand this thing? It's like a multiplier, like a Kaioken, you get the point. I mean, man, focus on one thing. Focus on one thing. Don't listen to music or whatever as you try to work. Don't do this other thing. No, just focus on one single task. That's the thing. Now, and also, Publilius Cyrus says to do two things at once is to do neither. And also in his book, Gary Keller says, or somebody else says this quote: "We think we're mastering multitasking, but we're just driving ourselves bananas." And it's so true. Stop multitasking. Stop trying to do important tasks more than one of them at once. It's just not good, not effective. Now another thing is, for you to not waste time just getting inspired and stuff, pick pause the video right now and pick some kind of note or something and just write what's your one thing. Because if you don't do this, doesn't matter how long this video is, how much value is it in it, don't get yourself and us disappointed because you didn't feel like putting the action in. You want to become more disciplined, exercise, use discipline right now. Go and see what's that one thing for you. Research it. You might say, oh, but I can do it later. It's just stupid, bro. You want to become more disciplined. How do you become more disciplined? Well, one way is to do things that require discipline, and you increase your skill. Make sense? So pause the video right now and go and actually find what's that one thing. It can take some time, but take it and just find it. What's that one thing for you that you gotta focus most of your time on? The next thing you gotta do is to think big and specific. Not just give yourself a small goal or whatever, because you're not doing anything. You're basically achieving nothing. Give yourself something big and something specific. So for example, for me is making 2 of these like way longer now videos that are super valuable 2 times at least per week, every single week. That's somewhat big and specific. Alright? So it's not just some whatever uploading whenever I feel like it, but whenever, like 2 times at least a week, every single week. I could upload more, but obviously I want to make these videos way more valuable and also longer, because that's the kind of content that I kind of watch usually, that I like. And so thing is, think big and specific. Okay, you found your one thing. Now you need your target. Where exactly do you want to go with it? How high? How big? How you know? It's not worth it for you to go small, because you won't put action in. As Grant Cardone says in his book, The 10X Rule, you have the ones who quit, the ones who do nothing, the ones who take normal action, and the ones who take massive action. You gotta be here on the massive action stuff. You gotta do this. Otherwise, you just won't be inspired by that goal. You won't even put as much action in. You gotta give yourself something big, not impossible, because it will be too hard and too far in the future for you, but something you can work on that is still somewhat big, and take some massive action on that. It will give you inspiration, excitement. It's awesome. Give yourself something exciting to do. And just find that one thing. That one thing. The whole book, bro, the book itself is called The One Thing. It's as simple as that. It doesn't need to be complicated, you guys. Think about it. You might think, yeah, but that sounds too simple. I mean, if I do just one thing, isn't it too... Will it be enough? You might ask. Look, doing one thing doesn't mean it takes less time. It just means less tasks. That's 1. 2, doing more doesn't necessarily achieve you more. In terms of doing more tasks doesn't achieve you more necessarily. Because if those tasks are the ones that you absolutely don't need, you just won't make progress. I mean, think about it. If for example, right, let me try to find an example. So I make these videos, right? If I did something completely unrelated to this, for example, write on Twitter, well, what does that have to do with this? You might say, oh, but it's still predictive work, it's still outreaching, still making content and so on for people delivering value. Yeah, but it's completely another thing unrelated to making these videos that I need to make. My one thing is to make these videos and not just film them, because obviously I gotta get these experiences myself. I gotta go and actually try stuff in the real world, go try it, get results, get the results, get the physique, get the experiences, get the whatever lessons, and then come and teach you all these in a hopefully articulate manner, or at least trying to. So that's my one thing. What is it for you? You gotta find that one thing and just focus on that mainly. Focus most of your time on that. You can do one thing, but for longer time. That's what I mean. So you gotta do this. And also, there's this pyramid that is very, very important, right? You want to become more productive. Well, Gary Keller has this pyramid he made, basically, that is, okay, productivity is actually like an iceberg, right? You see only a small portion of the iceberg above the sea level, but under the sea level there's a huge chunk of that iceberg. Under the water you see a lot more of it. It's a way bigger portion. And so that bigger portion, that portion above the sea water, well, that's your productivity level. You only like that small portion, but the big huge one, how do you get more productivity? based on this foundation that is, under, which is your purpose, and then comes priority, and then productivity. And let me try to make this for you, like draw some stuff, right? It probably won't be good because it's imagination, but just for you to understand. So this is like sea level, there you go, just like huge chunk, right here, there you go. And say, okay, productivity, priority, and purpose. Okay, so I don't know if you'll understand. You probably won't understand. It probably will look silly, but whatever, right? So you have this chunk, productivity, and the whole big chunk, the whole big thing here is basically priority and purpose. So for you to know your priority, because look, you don't want to just do whatever things and go nowhere. You want to actually pick something specific. That's what I said. You gotta pick one thing that you want to solve, that you want to get better at, that a problem that you want to solve, and just focus on doing your best to learn about it, to do something for it, to move towards solving it and towards getting that result. That's what I mean. Not just go broad with unspecified where you want to go with too many things at once, but one thing, super big, super specific. That's what this is all about. And so you pick your purpose, a bigger reason than you. Why do you want to do this in the first place? Because when you find it, it will be even more meaningful, and you'll find that why of why you want to continue with this. I want to help you guys. I want to help my people, right? Self-transcendence. So the thing is, that's my purpose. Now my priority is to make the videos. And so because I understand these way better, obviously my productivity skyrockets, and I can find more systems on how to do this. Because imagine if I didn't know all this. It sounds simple, right? But before I knew this, guess what? It was not as specific or clear what I should focus on. Or all these things on self-development, or I can learn about all these mentors of mine, like Hamza, Tate, Jack Hopkins, Chris Sturmey, whatever other guys, Wes Watson, Ed Mylett, and so on. Many guys, many people. Learning about so many areas like money, like getting in shape, like relationships, like self-development, dopamine detox, health, and so on. You can go so broad with so many things, but you make progress in pretty much none after some amount of time. Yes, of course, you'll get the new gains at the beginning of your self-development journey. You'll get all those beliefs, some more habits is great, but after a certain point, you slow down. Because after a certain point, you just need to focus on this essentialism mode of picking one thing and just focusing massively on that, right? There's this image again, right? If you try to do too many things at once, you make progress in pretty much none. Pretty much no progress in any of them, none of them. But if you focus on one thing for way longer, you'll get way better at it. Because you put way more time and way more focus onto that one thing, more brain points, more energy, more desire, good desire, on that one good thing, and you'll make exponentially more progress, alright? And also, to find that one thing, if you don't know what it is, ask yourself better questions. Do you understand that? Look, it is said here. I can say it the quote, but I hope I don't know if I remember it exactly. But let me try to see where, maybe find it. But basically, no, okay, here it is. I think. Okay, so Gary Keller said the quality of any answer is directly determined by the quality of the question. You want to find out one thing, that's the answer. Now you need to ask the right question or a better question so that you find that one thing. Ask the wrong question, get the wrong answer. Ask the right question, get the right answer. Ask the most powerful question possible, and the answer can be life-altering, says Gary Keller. And it's so true. So go super specific and spend quite some time thinking about what is that one thing. You might say, oh, but Sebastian, you spend so much time just talking about this one thing. Like, why? Because that's the thing you gotta do. If you do this, your life will change completely. Do you understand this? And so you can just put so much more time into that one thing and get so many more results, so much better results in your life. And that whatever one thing, when you actually just choose to focus on this, when I actually focus for so many hours on reading and stuff and taking notes for the video and making a script and making the plan without being so distracted with so many other things, then I understood, oh wait, most people are just not doing this. Most people say they work 8 hours, 10 hours. You don't. You just don't. Because we get distracted with so many things. It's multitasking as well. It's just distraction. Get from one thing to another. You interrupt the flow state. And so the thing is, you can get so much better value out of your work and efforts and results simply if you just focus on one thing for way longer. It doesn't need to be all day if you don't want to, but quite some more time. A chunk of hours, let's say, or however much you have for that one time, without you getting distracted. And you gotta ask yourself and spend time thinking how to ask yourself, or what's the better question to ask? How can I get that one thing? What is that one thing for me? And you just constantly go through whatever thoughts you have, or not even that, man. You just pick one area that you got to solve, that you gotta fix. I mean, that you feel pain in, for example, or that you have a good desire to actually get exponentially better results in this one area. Maybe fitness, maybe online business, money, something. I don't know, pick something. And just focus on that one thing and do your best to fix it. Right? That's it. And so that's another thing I started to do with my videos. Once I actually understood this principle way better, I actually spend a lot more time making the videos. I mean, learning for the videos, making the script, doing this and that, so that the video is exponentially more valuable and even more simple for you to understand, hopefully. And bit by bit, I get better. I put way more time into this video than compared to the ones that I used to make just before this. Think about that. And why? Because I took a decision to just focus on one thing for way longer. That's the thing. And for example, in the area of learning, right? Because there's one thing for every area. So for example, for my area of learning right now, instead of just learning from whatever books and so many videos all at once, so many topics, I narrowed down a bit more, and now I focus more on leadership. Now, I actually watched, and so actually I have been watching this video from John Maxwell and his team. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's on his channel, and it's so valuable on the topic of leadership. And I also got his books, or some of them, because he has like 73 or more. That's massive. That's his one thing, working on that. Of course, there's multiple tasks on that, but that's the one thing. So, look, some books from him and stuff, and I learned now leadership. Why? Because it's the one thing that will help me to exponentially get better results in making these videos way more valuable, so that you get exponentially better results. Does that make sense? The better of a leader I become, the more I can help you. That's the thing. And the more I can connect with you, the more we can form this awesome movement, the relationship, and we can actually help each other out. And I can help you with the content and the information I get and the results I get. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely amazing. And why does this work? Because I simply learn. So many people say, oh, just don't learn from books or whatever. Or you might have heard from whatever multimillionaires. Oh, but this guy, Tate, said to not read books. Like, bro, read books. I mean, the actually right ones that will be, that is good for your problem. That will help you to solve that one thing. Not just random ones, but focus on one thing. Get videos and books on that one thing and just fix it. Information is powerful. You might just take action, but on what? You take action with the information you currently got. If you don't have the information you need to fix the problem, well, you might as well go and get that information for books, for videos. That's it. So find that one thing that will just make the difference. Gary Keller has this saying. Let me tell it again. What is it, man? What is that one thing that you can do that will make everything basically irrelevant or effortless? What's that one thing you can do that will make every other task pretty much just pointless to do because it's simply not important, and it shows you the comparison, the contrast effect of the value, this compared to that. Okay, this one thing is way more valuable than all these other mini things combined, or big things combined that are not even helpful. So just throw them aside and just focus on this one thing. When you focus on that, you'll get exponentially more results. That's how it is. So yeah, this is what I learned from this book, The One Thing. You can read it more in depth because yes, I told you about it, but when you actually read a book yourself, it's actually even in more detail. It will help you even more, right? So yeah, if you like these kind of videos, drop a comment and say if it actually helped you. Sorry for the noise outside, by the way. But anyway, you can watch more videos, and that's pretty much it. If you have more struggles currently in terms of the topic of discipline and productivity and so on, drop them in the comments, and maybe I can make a video about it. Yep, that's pretty much it. Goodbye.